KSN.
This is the KSN Podcast. My name is Tom, and man, are we glad to be back. Today on the show, we welcome three coaches from three different sports talking about everything coronavirus related. Hear all that and more coming up next.
KSN.
Welcome to the KSN Podcast. Today on our COVID-compliant show, we welcome Coach Tyrell. Tyrell is the Director of Basketball Operations over at Wolfpack Basketball here in Southern California, and he's also the Assistant Girls Basketball Coach over at Harvard Westlake in Studio City. We're very excited to have Coach on the show. Coach, welcome.
Thanks for having me, brother. Good to see you. What's it been, like 30 years?
It's been way too long.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, we also got Coach O.G. Bendog today on the show from the Yellowtape Boys, YTB out of Compton. Coach, good to have you.
How you doing, Tom?
Excellent, man. Thanks for coming on in this crazy, crazy time.
Yeah, no problem.
So also joining us on the show today is Coach Chewie. She's the head volleyball coach at South Hills High in West Covina, California. Coach, glad you're joining us. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, I think the only way to do it is to just get right into it. And
Okay.
We got to go straight into the coronavirus. It is on everybody's mind.
Yes.
It's in sports. It's in news, social media. It is everywhere. We can't walk out of the house without thinking about it. And that includes youth sports and high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
So take us to the time when the shutdown happened. Where were you as a team? Or I know you're also a head volleyball club coach. So you have a couple things going on. You've got your high school and you've got your club. Take us through when this all happened, what your situation was.
So it was March, and South Hills Girls High School, we had already finished because we're a fall sport. So we're heading into spring, which is full effect for travel volleyball club. And I was right in the middle of starting season. We had done preseason, but starting our league with my boys volleyball team at LaSalle High School. Maybe around 11:30 at night, I get a phone call from my other owner and director at Forza, Terry DeSales, and we have our 16s team heading to Colorado for Colorado Crossroads, which is a huge tournament, which lots of college coaches go to. We've gone every year. It's in Colorado, and we decided to pull the plug. We gave everyone a call and sent out a massive email about 12 o'clock. Don't get on the flight. We are not going to be participating in the tournament. We were kind of like, oh, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. And thank God we did, because earlier that morning at 4 a.m., they canceled the whole tournament. And there's 100+ teams coming from everywhere, from Hawaii, from everywhere, from Arizona. And someone at the Denver airport had contracted coronavirus. So we would have been putting our girls in that situation. So we called it right then and there. And then with boys volleyball season, we got the notice from our athletic director after we had a big faculty and staff meeting with what our school was doing, because I'm also a teacher, and told us that we are social distancing and they'll let us know if we are allowed to return. And we just kind of held our breath, and we did Zoom workouts and try to just check in with them.
Actually the Pomona Steelers had folded already. And so I was just looking for a job, actually, somebody to coach with. And then the opportunity came about with the Yellowtape Boys a few months ago, and I kind of just jumped right in it.
So the day that the shutdown happened we had just got knocked out of state at Harvard Westlake. So I was the time of year where I usually start focusing on club, getting ready for nationals. And then the shutdown happened, and all of a sudden we couldn't practice. We couldn't go to tournaments. It was wild.
What was the message you gave to your players when everything stopped?
I mean, at the time, it was just, be safe. There was so much unknown. I think we had a little bit of hope that it was going to be over in a couple of months and we'd be able to get back to life as normal, but obviously that hasn't quite materialized yet.
There really wasn't any message or anything. When I got over there to the Yellowtape Boys, kind of just jumped right into practice. Um, it's 8-year-olds. Usually I deal with 6-year-olds. Like I said, just kind of jumped right in and did my thing as far as coaching and stuff like that.
It's amazing. So you were actually in the thick of it.
Mhm.
I mean, you were right. I mean, you were on a plane pretty much, and all that canceled.
Mhm.
Wow. What was the message you gave to your players at that point?
It was our 16s parents, and it's more of the fact that at this moment of family and everyone's health is a little bit more important than volleyball at the moment. And I know with club parents, because club is crazy. It's nuts. It's volleyball on steroids. Just how involved everyone is. And we were going to be we knew that we could have some parents that were upset because maybe there was a college coach coming to watch their kid, but when they actually canceled the whole tournament, it made sense. And at the end of the day, it's a co-curricular activity, and we can't. I think anything that we've learned throughout this is just our health and our family come first and foremost.
So, about how long was it until you started contacting your players again?
Well, probably about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks in. I was like, okay, we need to figure something out. We need to stay in touch. We need to stay active, just in case this ends. A date that had got thrown around for a while was May 15th. So hey, let's get active. Let's get to work. So when we can play, we're ready to go. Let's not just all sit on the couch and gain weight. Let's get active.
What Coach Tyrell's been doing is sort of unique to COVID times in that he's been conducting virtual workouts from his garage via Zoom. It's been interesting. Tell us a little bit about that, Coach.
Yes, so we jumped on Zoom, started doing workouts twice a week. We eventually grew that to 3 times a week. Each session, we're doing 2-hour sessions and 1-hour sessions, just trying to mix it up and keep the kids engaged.
We did Zoom. So we never had a break when club happened because we had to pay back a lot of parents who some of them paid full in club, and it's a pretty penny to pay club. And now that they weren't traveling, they weren't during these tournaments, we did have to refund quite a large amount of money. But at the same time, still were able to pay our coaches. And we did Zoom workouts, and we checked in with our teams, and we created this whole new thing called mindfulness, which is kind of like sports psychology, which I think a lot of the girls needed. I think just in general, I needed.
I think mindfulness is also probably on everybody's mind at this point too. It can take people in a different direction that you don't want, and I'm glad to hear you guys are starting that over there at your school and club. Some teams are playing. Obviously, here in Southern California, everything is still shut down for the most part. Teams can't play. They can barely even practice. Just now getting back into that. They're allowing now finally more than 8 people to gather at once and just throwing a ball to each other. That's about the extent of what was allowed up to this point. So what's happening is that some coaches and teams, organizations have, found clever ways to play. So they're traveling to other states. It's the only way that they can play and have a season. Otherwise, this season for youth football will be lost.
Right.
So take us through all the places that you've been. If I got this right, it's Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. Is that right?
Utah. Yeah, Utah was outside.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Tell us all about that, because not everybody has been traveling like you guys. And I mean, this is one of the reasons why I wanted you on here to explain. This is, it's an amazing accomplishment. It's a feat, I must say.
It's I give everything up to the YTB family. They were ahead of the game, and one of my kids from my team, he wanted to play for them, and so that's how I got down there. And shout out to Quest. That's how we connected. That's my boy, and we went down there and YTB, like I said, they were already ahead of the game doing their thing, and that's how we got the whole travel ball going. With the Utah thing, just knowing a lot of coaches and stuff in the game, we were able to network some things and get a couple of teams together, and that was just networking.
So what's happening in Utah right now that allows you guys to play them? Do they not allowed to play each other?
I don't know exactly who the YTB family, who they talked to, whoever on that, but they made that happen. And like I said, shouts out to them. They were lights ahead of everybody now. It seems like everybody's kind of falling in line with that. So
that seems to be exactly what's happening.
Yeah, people, I guess, the YTB, they were trendsetters. They came out ahead of everybody and set the trend.
Right.
So I was, like I said, blessed to just kind of jump in that situation and go forward.
Absolutely.
What is the farthest you've traveled for to play a game so far?
Florida.
You've been to Florida.
So we go to Florida. There's end of year tournament in Florida, Nashville. We go to Arizona. So the local Southern California Volleyball Association games are usually held in Anaheim, but they just shut down. I don't know if you're familiar with American Sports Center,
Right.
ASC, which held, I don't know, over 50 courts. They shut that down due to COVID, which was like our home. So now I think we're looking at going to the San Diego area in like Lake Forest College and playing there where it's a little bit more open, over to the OC. That's what it looks like with traveling.
So the goal is to go where they allow you to.
Go where they allow us to. And then if, like, there are 2 huge Vegas tournaments, one in February, one in April. This is where I was picked up to go to college at this tournament. It's where all the college coaches go. Granted, we're hoping that the college coaches are traveling and recruiting because there are a lot of girls. I have to help a couple of my girls tomorrow make a video to send off to college to see and hope if they're even having a season, if they have a scholarship available, or if they have an opening for a position.
Since you guys haven't played or really even practiced fully yet as a team, what are your thoughts on teams and organizations traveling to a safe place where they can ball?
It all depends on, like everything with this virus and the pandemic, everybody's got to make a call on their own, and got to do what they think is right. I mean, at the end of the day, the programs couldn't do it if the parents weren't okay with it. You can't drag and force the kid to go play. You can't, as a coach, I can't take your kid out of state without your permission. So it's, everybody in that program is on board, which allows them an opportunity to do it. It's not something I'm comfortable doing myself. It's not something I feel ready to do, but I don't have anything negative to say about anybody who's put that together.
What about parents? What has their attitude towards COVID been? As a coach, you must interact with them a lot. Are they very worried about their kids getting sick, the virus, or are they just so happy to get them out of the house they're like, whatever, go play?
Honestly, like a lot of things that I'm sure we're all witnessing, it's a case-by-case basis. Some parents are super cautious, and some parents are just, even in our social distancing practices, when can we scrimmage? When can we play? It's like, whoa, let's slow down. You're loving their enthusiasm, but at the same time, I have a responsibility to look at the picture for everybody. I can't just look at it as, okay, this person wants to do it, so we should do it.
Because it's not mandatory, there are some parents that, even though their daughters have been cleared, they have their physical in, they don't want to be here with the 10 pods. And then you have club, where parents are like, yeah, like, let's go for it. And I like it because it's some type of normalcy. Like, I feel like, oh, yes, we're back. And I think the kids need that. I think the girls need that for a healthier mind. But we did go to a tournament in San Bernardino where they are not required to wear masks. And some of our parents just fell apart. They didn't understand why we would send our girls to a tournament that kids and parents weren't wearing masks, and we were the only ones wearing masks because we're still considered LA County. And so that's been difficult. That's been difficult for us as a business is, well, what are we're supposed to scold a parent?
Uh, Parents, there's certain parents, just not letting their kids do anything, and there's some certain parents that are just kind of rolling the dice. So, from what I'm seeing, that's what it is. Because there's a lot of parents on the sidelines with the kids, and then there's a lot of parents that's, I would say all the parents that's just out there are taking that chance. That's what it is, or they're just going off instinct. I think that's what a lot of people are doing during this COVID, just going off instinct and how they're feeling about it.
So the CDC guidelines suggest that you can't high five and fist bump and hug and celebrate with your teammates, but obviously we've seen how baseball does it, and football and basketball, they're all doing it. They're trying at some point to tame it down a little bit. Is that possible in youth sports and high school sports, in your opinion?
It is, and it's one of those things. Like I think people need affection. I think we need that just as human beings. And sometimes you get caught up in the moment. Someone gets a great kill, and you just want to give her a high five. We can do that. They've been doing kind of one of these, or like air fives, or they're doing the snaps, but just for precaution, because of all of our teams, and we just want to make sure, like moving forward, especially both boys and girls volleyball for high school, we're the first two sports back. If we don't do it right, we could potentially mess it up for all the other sports to follow. And so just kind of get everyone on the same page.
It can be done, but it is kind of hard. Really, right now, in the middle of everything, it really is hard. I mean, the kids need to have masks on, but right now it's really hard during the COVID. We test, for temperatures and stuff like that before practice, so we kind of go from there.
It's hard. It is very, very hard, and it's something that myself and our coaches, we have to monitor, because it's just a natural part of being a kid. You see your friends, you want to give them a hug. Somebody does something well, you want to give them a high five. I mean, it's the simple things that we took for granted that we can't do anymore. And it's difficult to not do anymore, but it's in everybody's best interest right now to, be as safe as possible.
We've talked about the parents' concerns, which, is understandable. When when you go to one county that is fully restricted and you go to the other county that's a little more laxed, it's a little jarring, I would think. What are kids' thoughts about it? What are your, I'm sure that may vary, but overall, what are their thoughts?
I think every household's a little bit different, and I know us as a club, we're trying to take precautions because we have one facility, and if we did not have this facility, we wouldn't have a team. We went from, because of COVID and not having, we used to go out of different high schools and different churches. Now we're only going out of one facility that has 2 courts. So we went from 21 teams to 12 teams this year. And if something were to happen, say someone were to come in and a girl didn't have her mask on properly, or they saw someone high five, or there's too many people, we could be easily shut down. And I think parents are happy that their daughters are happy. I'll say that. They're happy that this isn't a Zoom volleyball workout. You can only do so much with a ball. Like, this is why it's a team sport. You can only pass to yourself for so long before no one wants to log in anymore, and you've lost their interest.
Coach Ochi Bendog is the coach of the 8U YTB. So they're young, really young. So they obviously have to listen to the parents, and they'll take their advice and everything in their direction. But you're with them a lot. What are their thoughts on the whole coronavirus thing?
Not really too much. The kids, 7 and 8, and they just kind of just living the life. They don't really have too many opinions, or we haven't talked too much about it. They know they have to wear a mask certain times and social distancing, certain areas and stuff like that. But as far as me having a conversation with them, as far as the COVID, we really haven't had that one-on-one or discussed it in any types of form.
So it's just like you show up, wear a mask, practice, and that's that.
That's that. That's really what it is, Tom. Show up, do our thing, and then they go home.
Right.
It's not really too much of a discussion with the kids about that.
Yeah. Do you feel it's even your place to discuss that with the kids, or is it you leave that for the parents?
I think I kind of leave that for the parents. I mean, if a child asks me something about it, I would discuss it with them and tell them, give them some details on what I would think, my opinion on the whole COVID situation. But that hasn't happened. So I just kind of leave that up to the parents as far as dealing with the COVID situation.
So you were talking about the new rules with parents coming in to watch their kids play, especially during these club games. So it's only one parent.
So at the moment, 2 weeks ago, police came in and shut down a whole volleyball tournament. I'm talking about there was maybe 150 people in a complex, and because it's youth sports and there's different rules. So now they changed the rules. Only your team mom and your coaches and the team are allowed to come in. I mean, I'm going to be honest, from a coach's perspective, no parents at a game. It's like a dream come true. But at the same time, I have a stepdaughter and I would love to be at her game. So I understand that. I think with high school it's in the unknown. Boys volleyball is the first sport to come back in Southern California for high school sports. And my first game is December 5th, and I haven't been able to get into a gym yet.
Now, were there any fans at the games? Were there parents at the games? Were everybody allowed to come in, or was there had some sort of restriction there as well?
Yeah, they definitely had some restrictions. Each game, they would have the parents come in, and it's a nice place, and they have them, spread out. And then after each game, they would come in clean, and then the next set of parents would come in. Things like that. So they had it worked out real nice. So they figured it out.
That is pretty amazing. I mean, you definitely have to be out front of this to get to think, like that.
Right, definitely. They did the things out there in AZ, and I'm just proud to be part of the whole thing.
It's pretty interesting that that you guys can take 3 separate teams during this time and cross the border like that. Hats off to you guys, for real. It's like as we're saying, not everybody is doing that. In fact, hardly anybody is doing that, and this is why it's good to get your perspective on this.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. Like I said, shout out to the YTB family, Coach Wash, CT. They were lights ahead of everybody. Mm-hmm. Practicing and making that happen. So
it seems to me like to get through an entire season, you're going to need a collaborative effort from the entire team. Are you confident that your team can pull that off?
I am, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to coach some great kids, and they all miss it. They all miss being able to play sports. They all miss being able to compete. They miss being able to spend time and get after it with their teammates, and they're just chomping at the bit to be able to do that again. So in that regards, I'm confident. What it's going to look like ultimately, I don't know. But just the fact that they're into it and that they want it, it gives me a lot of hope.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, we've been doing this for, like I said, a couple of months, 2.5 months. So everything has been pretty smooth. So we're just going to kind of stick to the script and do what we've been doing and make what is left of this 2020 season, if it is a 2020 season. Like I said, this is a travel ball 2020 season. It's just it's being made up as it's going. So. That's what we have in front of us,
I think so. I think it would be the one thing, I don't know, just would make us, everything that everyone's been through, I think it would make everyone a little bit stronger and more united. Like we kind of stand together, like let's get through this together. I know with my high school team, with my girls team, I am so looking forward to getting back into the gym. I have an incredible team this year that we could really do some damage in CIF. And for my boys, they never got their season last year. And I feel they never got to play at all. We never had a home game last year. So I would hope that we at least, if something were to be shut down again, we could at least play one home game because they haven't played in their home gym for 2 years.
With all the civil unrest that's happening throughout our country right now, fueled by the shootings and killings of innocent young black men and women, you see professional athletes out there sort of paying tribute, writing their names on the back of their jerseys, talking about them in press conferences and on social. Do you guys have anything planned for your organization to spread awareness and bring to light this situation that's happening right now?
We don't have anything planned right at the moment because we don't know when we can go back to play. So that's tough to say. But it is pretty awesome to see professional athletes using their platform and using their voices. It's great. It makes a difference. It makes people more aware. One of the problems is that for a long time we've been afraid and shied away from having these conversations, and now you have people forcing the conversation, which I think makes a big deal.
No, we don't have anything as far as Black Lives Matters as far as in our organization, but majority of our kids are black. I mean, we are thinking about that as heavy on our minds, and with that Black Lives Matters movement, definitely. So, shout out to COVID Sportswear. If you need these shirts, I'm on Instagram. Being a black man, I just had to represent myself, with the shirt. And, but no, we don't have anything right now as far as that.
That's a great question. That's something that my coaching staff for high school, we have not talked about. For club, we've put out statements, and we're making new shirts to wear. They have something like that, just like justice for all, or just different things, and making sure that everyone feels accepted. And I don't think we've ever had, especially where we live, it's very diverse. South Hills is very diverse. We haven't had to run into that yet. The only time that I've had to run into that actually was when I was coaching girls high school at LaSalle, when the whole Colin Kaepernick when he started kneeling, and we had a couple of girls start kneeling during the national anthem, and that was a first for us. And I don't know, I wouldn't be opposed to it if that's what they feel, if that's what girls feel. If they ever wanted to do something where we did something as a team, I would just be in supportive of them.
I mean, I think forcing conversations is the way to go. If you don't, you keep things in, you keep things bottled up, no one will come together, and you won't get anything done. You got to get out. You got to have a conversation with somebody. You got to go outside your comfort zone. You got to go outside your comfort zone, but you got to do it.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
With no parents in the stands, or one parent at least, no grandfathers, no grandmothers, no cousins, nieces and nephews, do you think that'll play on the kid's emotional state?
I think having their support system, and I'm thinking back to when I played, I would look over, having that support system. But then I think during COVID, a lot of people, a lot of players, either you're going to do it or you're not. Are you really doing the Zoom workout, or are you over to the side? How bad do you really want this, and who are you playing for, and why are you playing? Are you playing this because your parents wanted you to have friends? Are you playing this because this is your co-curricular activity and you want to be fit? Or are you playing this because you genuinely have a passion and love for this game? You don't have to go to college for it. There's some great players that never went to college because they wanted to experience college and not play. But I think it comes back to how bad do you want it? So if you're not playing in front of everyone, if you're not playing in front of your school, if they don't allow anyone to come in for school games, for high school games, parents, why are you playing? And I think it's your big why, trying to find that why and that reason of that passion of when you started when you were 12 years old, coming back to that.
That's the hard part. That is the hard part about the pandemic, is that, the pandemic is a huge thing for us as adults, but a lot of us have lost sight that kids are losing their childhood. There weren't summer camps, there haven't been play dates, there haven't been, kids hanging out at the mall or going to the movies together. Normal stuff you get to do as a kid. Kids haven't been able to do in the last 6 months.
Definitely. I mean, because, parents are the biggest supporters of the kids. That'll definitely be a big blow.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Let's talk about schedules for a second. Do you have one? I mean, is it full? Or is it just like a week for let me get on the phone with Oregon?
It is something like that. Like I said, the networking, calling people, the YTV family, they mainly have the control of all of that. And yes, we're looking to go into Fresno in a couple of weeks. Back to Arizona, and possibly Florida for the national thing. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're just moving forward and just staying focused.
Currently, no, which is very difficult for me because I like to plan. I am a huge planner, and to not be able to put together a schedule right now is tough. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years, and the people that I've worked with in the past, they don't have any tournaments scheduled right now. There's just so much unknown that makes it difficult to plan.
Yes, we do. And I've had to redo it 3 times because things have been postponed. And of course, I've scheduled same games on same days, so I've had to figure out that one. I have a crazy schedule moving forward. Monday through Thursday, I have games. I have games Tuesday, Thursday, and Monday, Wednesday, just at different schools.
So you're full.
We're full. We're full.
Good.
I don't think we're doing any tournaments. I don't think coaches or parents feel comfortable doing tournaments, which always helped. So we're doing more just preseason single games.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Coach. Best of luck to you and your club for the entire season.
Yeah, Tom, you know what I'm saying? This is like my first real interview, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Listen, a lot of people want to know what's happening with teams like yourself, and this has been very informative. All right, Coach Chewie. Well, that was wonderful. Listen, again, I do appreciate you coming on the show. This has been pretty awesome. You've got your hands full. You've got a lot to do. You've got a lot of kids to teach and a lot of kids coach. You're doing a wonderful thing, and keep it up.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me. Don't wait another 30 years for us to hang out.
Thank you.
KSN, we out here, yep, and we ready to do it. I got my body amped up on proteins and fluids, ready to shatter competition. I'm considered the best.